Greetings, welcome to the N.E.A.R show, where we discuss and actively explore paranormal phenomena. I am your host, Keith Johnson, the co-founder of New England Anomalies Research, and Sandra is again in the control booth, but you do see her, and she pops up now and again on location. So, we have a very, very exciting show for you tonight. We have two distinguished guests, Cody DesBiens, who is no stranger to N.E.A.R, and also our good friend Joe Chin. How many years have I been trying to get you on the show?
Many years, I have to
many
say.
years. And of course, you recognize him from Ghost Hunters and Ghost Hunters International. So let's give them a round of applause.
Oh,
Thank you.
thanks, Keith. Great to be back again.
Great to have you back again. Well, so what's been happening in the paranormal realm?
Well, we've been staying busy.
Yes,
busy,
yes, I've
yeah.
heard you've been very, very busy.
It's been busy. We
Very,
just
very busy.
wrapped up 2 events for the mayor of Warwick, fundraising events for his
Great.
church.
Excellent.
Of course, we did a public reveal of a few investigations we conducted at Warwick City Hall and his church, Trinity Episcopalian Church in Cranston. So it went great. Sold out events, about 130 people each night, so it went great.
And do you find that it picks up kind of like this time of year, around approaching the holiday season, and
I'd say so. It's the whole Halloween thing. Everybody likes to be scared, so the closer we get to this time of year, people want to go on and get scared and have some fun, and
Right.
or perhaps maybe even do some serious investigating.
yes, along with it.
I think it's a little both. You've always heard that the veil's thinner at this time of
Yes,
year.
yes, exactly.
So I think it might be a mixture of that and a mixture of what Joe was saying. And people just, the scary stuff is on TV, and people just want to get in that spirit. So we do get more emails at this time of year too. So.
Yes, I've noticed. We do too.
Yep, absolutely.
Joe, what first started you in the paranormal realm, investigating?
It's been a long haul. I remember having activity in our house when we lived in Providence in a 3-tenement house, and I was about 12, I'd say. And we had activity on the 3rd floor, and every time my parents would go to work, activity would pick up. So you kind of shrug that in the back of your mind that it's still boogeyman. And of course, being of Asian descent, you weren't supposed to talk to spirits. Just leave them be, and they'll leave you alone. It wasn't until I started working for a retail computer chain where I met Jason Grant, and then we became friends. And when I asked what he did with the equipment that he bought, he would say, "Oh, we're doing Ghost Hunter, doing a TV show," and I didn't know people did that for a hobby. So.
Yeah. So that's how you first became acquainted with Jason Grant, and of course, eventually you became a cast member of Ghost Hunters and joined the Atlantic Paranormal Society.
Yes.
Yeah.
I had joined TAPS before I did Ghost Hunters. I think it was about a
Most
year
of us did,
into
yeah.
TAPS
Right.
when I got asked to do Ghost Hunters. And then the following year, I got asked to do the international show. And I tell you, it's been a wild ride, time of my life.
Yes,
It's been an awesome experience.
Totally unexpected, and these two guys buying all this equipment and just, strike a conversation one day. And
Yeah, right? It wasn't until I started hearing some of the evidence that they would capture that it intrigued me.
Yes.
And I wanted to know, how do we get to the other side? What's on the other side? And so it was perfect.
And the rest is history.
The rest is history, yeah.
And you and Cody, of course, you're very updated on the latest technology as far as reproducing sound and recording and everything.
We try to be.
Although you did recently acquire an analog tape recorder.
Sure,
it's
absolutely.
very, very close to my heart.
Absolutely, yeah. I wanted to make sure I've shown you that. There's always been this debate if analog versus digital, which one is better. So I figured I'd get my hands on one and just kind of do a little experimenting and see if there is a noticeable difference, as far as capturing EVP wise. So hopefully we'll see what happens. Maybe there is a difference, maybe there isn't.
And of course, Cody, you are on the home team of TAPS. Of course, you go to local places and You go when people call you for assistance and they're having problems in their private residence, and also some very novelty investigations too, like City Hall,
Yep.
City Hall,
Yep.
and the Payne House.
Yes, in Coventry. Yep.
And of course, you work with our friend Ken DaCosta of Rise Up
Rise Up.
Paranormal, very close to him.
Absolutely.
Awesome people.
Yes, and but you do that a lot with the home team too, right, Joe?
Yes, yes. I've always kept in touch with the TAPS team investigating when I wasn't filming, because I was so into the paranormal by then that I wanted to go on the investigations for the private cases. Because
Doesn't stop when the cameras are off, right?
no, it doesn't.
Yeah. So, very intriguing, Ghost Hunters International. Tell us about some of the adventures you've had overseas, and I'm sure you could fill up hours telling us about
Yeah, I
your
have
experience.
lots of stories, some of which I probably shouldn't say, but I have lots of stories. But yeah, it's going to these remote places in the jungle, on top of Mayan ruins, underground caverns of Paris, abandoned asylums, abandoned churches, and abandoned castles, which was awesome. You know, one time I was staying in a chateau and I was sleeping, trying to sleep, and I remember hearing chains rattling and moaning.
Wow.
I'm like, wow.
In a
and
castle.
moaning in.
Wow.
And chains in a castle.
Wow.
It was pretty.
I like your bite story.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Bite story.
Yeah,
Yes.
we had filmed in Denmark, and we went to a castle called Castle Dragslum, and it was just myself, one other investigator, and one camera person, and I was assigned to the dungeon where supposedly Mary, Queen of Scots' husband, was in prison and died. We were down there doing an EVP session for like an hour. Nothing's going on, not a thing. So we decided to go to a different part of the castle, and it was wintertime. And as I was going up the stairs, my arm starts to burn and sting. I'm like, well, it feels like a cigarette's being put out in my hand.
Wow.
It was dark, so we had to wait to get to the top of the stairs and turn the light on. And when I pulled my sleeve up, I had actual human teeth mark.
Wow.
It took me back. It was 4 teeth, a space, and another tooth, just the top, not the bottom. And I was just like dumbfounded and amazed, like, wow, that's human teeth.
Yeah, isn't that disturbing?
It was
when
disturbing.
Something like that
It took me a
happens?
while to wrap my head around it. The camera people were all excited. They were like, oh, you gotta go back down.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right back down. Yeah.
And after a few choice words and 40 minutes later, I was able to go back down.
Yes. Talk about invasion of privacy. I mean, that's.
yeah.
I remember our old friend, the late great Ed Warren, was working on an actual incubus case
Oh.
where this young girl was being violated by something that they couldn't even see.
Wow.
And she was very traumatized by that. But
Yeah.
Ed reported that bite marks appeared on her arm and actually accompanied by saliva.
Oh,
I mean, that
wow.
is very, very, very disturbing.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
Something like that happens.
Wow.
It's amazing how they could make that manifest.
Yeah, and it is very amazing. Like a spiritual entity can actually be that physical to actually do
Right,
an assault
absolutely.
like that on somebody. Yeah. Back to more pleasant topics. Now, how do you find, Joe, the difference between paranormal phenomena in Europe, in other countries, as opposed to here in the United States?
You know, people ask me that a lot, and I find that it's very similar.
You find it similar?
Except when there are exceptions of extreme communication gaps, like different foreign languages
Yes,
and their
yeah.
religion. All that has to play in it. A couple of times we weren't received well by some countries and said, oh, that's crazy, the ghosts don't exist, you guys are nuts. And then we're actually upset that we actually did an investigation. So there were some places that weren't so welcoming, but then there were others that were amazed on what we could capture and what we experienced. But I'd say it's about the same. It's just that it's a different time era. Maybe
Yes,
it's a bit
yeah.
older, like the Mayan ruins. You know,
Yes.
1200 BC. It's
Yes.
crazy.
So when you go into these places, these ancient places, like we think Slater Mill is old, is ancient
Oh,
to
yeah,
us, you know,
right.
it's a little over 200 years
It's
old.
a great place.
But and then you go into some place that's 900 years old or so like that. And how do you find that the I don't know what you'd call it, whether you want to call it the entities, if it's a sentient entity that can communicate with you, do you find they're like kind of taken aback at modern technology? You're coming in there with recording devices, or?
I guess it would depend on each individual case. I mean, of course, if you're talking to a spirit that may be 300 years old, of course, you're not going to know what a digirecorder is,
Right.
or what we have in our hands on some sort of weapon in their eyes. But I think down to the crux of it, it's all about the same, except when it comes to the more malevolent cases.
Yes, yeah. Malevolent cases are the interesting ones, but they're very and
frightening.
You know, that's a thing, and I'd like you both to comment on this. That a lot of people don't realize. You know, they think it's fun and exciting and cool, which I mean, it is exciting, but there are some very real inherent dangers in paranormal investigation.
Sure.
Definitely.
Absolutely, and you know, like we were talking about, especially this time of year, you know, people are starting to play with Ouija boards and stuff like this around Halloween time, and of course, it's not the board that is dangerous per se, but it's the action and using it. You know what I mean? And there's just so many unknowns in this field that
That's true.
That you just don't know what could happen. Demonic activity and negative activity is rare. Paranormal activity is rare in itself, but there's always that chance that something could go wrong. So when we go into an investigation, we individually do our own thing. We don't really do anything as a group, but we all have different beliefs, and we just kind of do our own thing privately before we go in, and just make sure that we're in really high positive spirits.
Very important. Yes.
If somebody's not feeling well, we recommend that they stay home and sit this one out.
Which is hard to do when you're put up in a hotel,
absolutely,
Scandinavia or something like that.
Yeah. So I think staying positive is the key, but really just knowing that there is a chance that something negative could happen. You just don't know.
Yeah, and when people say, well, what's your advice for somebody who wants to get into it, and maybe it's on the young side?
Yes,
I tell people, no. I believe you're going to be a certain age.
Yes.
I think it should be at least 18 or 21 before you start delving into this, because we've had people drop their kids off on investigation and say, all right, stay with them.
Yeah.
So it can be very dangerous, and people don't understand that.
Exactly. Now, speaking of this time of year, in just a couple of minutes, we're going to roll a little clip, a little brief seasonal message from New England Anomalies Research. But before we do that, I just want to touch on something I just mentioned, Slater Mill. Now, what was it, 2000? I know you've been there since many times, Cody. But because the episode of Ghost Hunters, you were there in 2008, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
And it was a great place. I remember going to that house that's across from where the little boy was seen. It's a house.
Yeah, it's actually 3 buildings on the site. There's the Sylvanus Brown House is what you're mentioning.
Yes.
Yeah, that was a private home, and it was moved to the Slater Mill site to prevent its demolition.
And I remember hearing screaming in that house when we did that investigation.
Wow.
Like it sounded like a girl screaming.
Yeah.
I don't know where it was
Upstairs or
coming from.
downstairs?
I believe it was coming from upstairs.
Uh-huh.
Because we walked into the house and there was a stairwell that went up, and I think I heard it from that direction. The screaming.
And it's interesting that we don't allow people up on the top floor because they're the old original staircase.
Sure.
And the floor is a little unsteady
Safety,
there. So, but some people do hear activity up there. But of course, I'll never forget when you came into the far side of the museum, and all of a sudden the heating system kicks on. And you jump.
It was scary. It startled me.
We always remember that. But we used to too. I mean, until we got used to it, because it's since been replaced and everything.
Sure.
But that was the old heating system would just come on with this boom,
and thunderous sound.
And you're asking questions, you're asking for a sign, and all of a sudden that comes on.
Was that the spirit?
And
or
the
not?
camera did happen to be on you at the time.
Wow.
Cut to commercial, Yeah, my brother had an experience when he was leading one of the Mills and Mysteries tours there at night, and it was right around the 4th of July, and he asked, please give us a sign that you were here. Suddenly fireworks go over at McCoy Stadium, at that exact moment.
That's awesome.
Couldn't have timed it any more perfectly.
Wow. Wow. That's funny.
Yeah. Yeah, but Slater Mill is a very, very old building with a lot
Yeah.
of history to it and everything like
And
that.
active.
Yeah, exactly. And what did you go into the wheel pit in the
Yes,
in the
and
Wilkinson
in
Mill?
the wheel pit, we thought we heard or saw a little boy. And I remember being with Chris Williams, where that boy was crushed,
Yeah.
trying to do the repairs underneath some of the machinery.
Oh yeah, there were a lot
happening.
of industrial accidents,
Yeah.
most of which we don't know about because
Yeah.
they didn't take records at the time. Because you advertise that people are getting industrial accidents
Yeah.
here, nobody's going to want to work there. So,
Yeah.
but they tried to keep it to a minimum, but
Sure.
it did happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think now we're going to go to our clip for the seasonal message, and when we come back, we'll have more exciting questions and answers with Cody, Ray, and Joe.
I hope it has a few stanzas. Oh, we'll only sing a couple. Only a few. All right. What you got? Good Christian men rejoice with heart and soul and voice. Give ye heed to what we say. News, news, Jesus Christ is born today. Ox and axe before him bow, and he is in the manger now. Christ is born today. Christ is born today. Good Christian men rejoice with heart and soul and voice. Now ye hear of endless bliss. Joy, joy, Jesus Christ was born for this. He has opened heaven's door, and man is blessed forevermore. Christ is born for this. Christ was born for this. Good Christian men rejoice with heart and soul and voice. Now ye need not fear the grave. Peace, peace, Jesus Christ was born to save. Calls you on and calls you all to gain his everlasting hall. Christ was born to save. Christ was born to save. Thank you. There's so many Christmas. That was a good. Now,
Excellent harmonizing, Carl.
yes. Well, that's what I tried to do. It doesn't always go spot on, but I tried to harmonize with what I had memorized from like 45 years ago.
I'll be home for Christmas. You can count on me. I'll be home for Christmas, if only in my dreams.
And we're back. Thank you very much for watching.
That was great.
That was great, yeah.
Thank you very much. Okay, I'm going to ask, have you ever been to, I know you have, Cody. Did you ever go to the Lizzie Borden house?
No, knowing Leanne and living so close, I've never been. I'm embarrassed to say.
Well, a lot of people
It's
say
so
that it's
close,
in our
eh?
own backyard and they haven't been there. Same thing with Slater Mill.
Yeah.
People live in Pawtucket all their lives. They've
Oh, I'm
never
sure,
been there.
yeah.
But yeah, you're actually rather close to the Lizzie Borden house, right?
Yeah, I am. And
Fall River, yeah.
I just saw her recently, and she says, "You gotta come."
Yes,
So
yeah.
it's one of those things. Yes, I will come.
Yes,
Just
yeah.
a matter of time.
Just got to make time for it, you know.
Oh,
Like
looking
I'm
forward
glad you
to it,
make time
though.
for being on Ghost Down Near.
All right, I've never been all these years, and I'm looking forward to it.
Well, we'll definitely have to get you there.
Yeah, for sure.
And, our friend Gary DeMorinville, of Ghost Chasers,
Oh, yes,
Paranormal
yeah.
Research. He led the first group that actually investigated that, the first local paranormal team that went through the
Wow.
Borden house and actually investigated it. So,
Wow,
Wow.
that's great.
good way to start. You
I know, right?
You know?
He's setting the bar high.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely. So Rise Up does kind of like an internet show called The Paranormal Truth, and we just filmed an episode there a few weeks ago now, so it should be coming out probably in December sometime.
Good. What can you tell us about it?
Well,
Without giving too much away.
of course, you know, there's been countless numbers of shows that have been in there, and like I was saying, the bar is set high. So we went in there really with an open mind and just tried to kind of put everything that everybody else has gotten evidence-wise in the back of our heads, and just do an investigation from scratch. And yeah, we definitely got some strange things. I won't ruin the surprise, but there definitely is a few strange clips in the episode. So I think you'll enjoy it if you see it.
And for those of you who are not familiar with the Lizzie Borden Bed and Breakfast, it's a wonderful place to stay. August 4th, 1892, Lizzie Borden took an axe, gave her mother 40 whacks. When she saw what she had done, she gave her father 41. None of which is true. None of which is true.
It's only 18 or 19.
Right. Her
but
mother
still.
got 19. Yes, but the homicides were horrific there.
Yes,
I can
absolutely.
imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, have you investigated the Payne house with Cody?
Oh yes, many
Yeah, countless
times.
times. Absolutely. Yeah.
Tell us about that a bit.
When I had first gone, I was amazed that it was 3 different time periods in the home, and that activity happened so quickly for me. Noticing all these footsteps and all these sounds, and then you start to build a rapport, relationship with the spirit, who we think it might be called. Her name might be Sarah. We've seen many shadows. We've heard bangs. We've heard furniture drag across the floor. Because sometimes we get to sleep over.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, we slept over.
Do you
one
do
night.
much sleeping?
No, that was the night where we heard what sounded like a loud bang and furniture dragging across the floor when we knew there was only 4 of us in the house. And then when we settled back down, there was a bang at the front door. And we ran, and of course there was nobody there.
How many knocks?
It was
Just
three
curious.
big boom, boom, boom kind of bangs.
Yeah.
I know my brother Carl was there at one time, and he was there with Rise Up, and one of the women there saw a little girl shadow, looked like a little child or something, go under the table there, and she got very upset.
Oh yes, I've heard this story.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
And they asked her if she wanted to leave, but she said she'd stay. She'd stay for the rest of the investigation.
Wow.
But I mean, that really took her off guard when she saw something that looks like a child running under the table there.
Yeah, we
Place
had
is
gone
very
there-
active.
Very active, and it's always that kitchen area.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
We had just recently gone there, and Cody had got some footage of what looks like some black mass coming out, peeking out, touching the dog we use for investigation.
Oh yeah.
And making sounds, and we can't explain it.
Yeah, it definitely looked like a solid mass just peeking out and blocking out the camera view, and a good size.
They
and
tried to recreate it.
Yeah, we tried
Yeah.
recreating it, and the infrared light would bounce off.
Did you ever use the laser light?
We have set up laser grids in there before, usually in the basement. But this one was strange, like Joe was saying. We have these dogs, like you were saying, that we don't know what time period these spirits are from, especially if they're children. We don't want to seem intimidating. Like Joe was saying. We've gotten on recording, EVP saying, take the weapons off before.
Oh, really?
So it's equipment can easily be mistaken for a weapon. So
Yeah, when you think about it.
absolutely, especially to a child. So we have they're life-size stuffed animal dogs, and inside they have a REM pod technology built into them. So a proximity sensor, they detect heat, and they have a touch sensor, so if something pats it, it lights up and blinks and makes noises. So that's a lot less intimidating than some of the other equipment that we use.
Yeah, it's very sensible, very sensible. Now, I know you both are very, very respectful, and Ken is too. You know what? One of my pet peeves is probably my main pet peeve in the whole paranormal realm is when people go in insulting to get a
Absolutely, yeah.
reaction.
Mine
Just coming out anything. Well, yeah, sometimes it does get a reaction. But,
Yeah, but
like, what are you thinking? What are you doing?
This
Right.
is somebody's home that you're invading.
Yeah, absolutely.
You get to leave that home, and they don't.
Yeah.
They
Right.
may be stuck with something worse.
Right, and it's a family setting and everything like that. Again, get to leave, and the family has to stay there after this provocation has been done.
Yes.
Right. Absolutely. You know, Grant always said that fear is just a lack of knowledge. So when we go into a home,
Yes.
we're trying to educate, and you know, we don't want to come across like that at all. And
Yeah, right.
you have to
Right,
remember
of course.
that the spirits that could be in this home, you know, they were living people at one time, and you know, we just try to talk to them like they're still alive and well, and
Yeah, yeah, very
just
respectful.
you know, try to be polite, and we find that we get most of our results better that way.
Yeah.
Not only that, but a lot of the times we get people who are very, very nervous.
Yes.
And by the time we leave, we have relieved that nervousness.
Good, yeah.
And they were saying, wow, I understand what you're doing now, and you're taking yourself from that element and trying to get to the bottom of it
Right.
instead of automatically thinking it's bad, it's bad.
Right, and a lot of what you do, a lot of what we do is to try to educate.
Exactly.
Right.
To educate. It's
Yep.
fear of the unknown. And you try to bring some comfort to people who are going through a traumatic situation many times.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Especially if there's a child involved. You know, we don't want to come across as intimidating and
Right.
disrespectful in any way.
Yeah.
Not only for the spirit's sake, but for the client as well.
Yeah. Now, Joe, what would you say in all your European travels with Ghost Hunters International? What really stands out for you as something that was very intriguing or maybe frightening, downright frightening in all those places?
Being bitten was probably the scariest thing.
Yeah, I would say that was
Secondly, I was in Belgium, and we were at a fort where a bomb exploded and 300 people were buried, and they couldn't retrieve their bodies.
wow.
Having something take over my whole body and bring me to tears was an experience that
Oh, yeah.
frightened me.
Yeah.
I didn't know what was happening, I didn't know what feelings it was, but I burst out into tears. I couldn't compose myself. It took me a while, and it was a very strange feeling to feel somebody else's feeling and sadness.
No,
That's sad.
thank you for sharing that. And believe it or not, we're actually winding down now. It goes by so fast.
It sure does.
Absolutely.
It's interesting.
It
I
went
hope
by
you
quick.
come back again, both
Yeah,
of you,
yeah.
and chat some more.
I will.
Anything interesting ahead for you guys?
Well,
Except interesting paranormal investigations? Yeah.
I know, right? That's mainly what we've been doing. You know, between Taps and Rise Up, it's just you know, we stay busy with client cases and
Yes, yeah,
stuff.
they're always doing something every week.
And then the winter season, we usually take off with the public investigations. But we need a well-deserved break anyway. So
You do. You really do. You need to
Wintertime, it's
recharge your
coming.
batteries, recoup.
absolutely.
And I'm
so-
working on a couple of projects. I'm
excellent.
trying to pitch some things to the networks, and
Good.
hopefully something will come out of it
Good.
somewhere.
Well, you got to both come back and talk about those projects when
Yeah,
they begin to
thank you.
manifest. Should I use that word, manifest?
I hope it does manifest.
Yeah. But I would like at this time to invite our studio audience. Anybody who wants to come down and meet Joe Chin and Cody Ray DesBiens in person, chat with them, and they're right here, so now's your opportunity. They're here for us and everything. And I want to thank you. You guys have been wonderful.
Thank
Well,
you.
thank you so
Thank you
much,
so
Keith.
much.
Changer as well.
Yes,
Yes.
Sandra, thanks you from the control booth. Okay. Well, thanks, guys, and I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful, safe, and rewarding holiday season with
You
your
too, Keith.
families.
You too.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Don't be shy. Come on up. Everybody come on up. Say hello.